Hi, welcome to Eczema Herd. Today we're going to talk about the top 5 emergency things that you can do right now, today, to help you get sleep and to help your child with moderate to severe eczema get the sleep that they need to. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to get online and order yourself a pair of, I have 2 of them here, scratch sleeves. So you can see they have this logo on the back. They're just kind of a tube, and then on the ends you have some silk here so that when they try to scratch themselves, they're not going to get all ripped up. Now these are an investment. You can find them on, you can find different versions on Etsy. You can find them on Amazon, I'm pretty sure, or you can order them directly from this company. It is a UK company, so if you do order from them, be prepared for it to take a bit to arrive at your home. Now, this is an emergency situation, but I want you to get these ordered so that when they come, you don't have to do any of the DIY things, because they are, I feel like, the most safe to sleep in, the most helpful, and the hardest to get out of. And they have a whole different set of clothes. I'm going to do a whole video just on scratch sleeves. So if you don't have these, start looking into some eczema-friendly clothing. They are 100% cotton as well. So if you have any polyester irritants that are bugging your eczema child, these are a good way to go. Now, you're in an emergency situation, and if you have a younger baby, this will work for you. A lot of clothes now have these fold over mitts, which are so helpful. You can get a bunch of these, and you just try to find the biggest size you can. Burt's Bees runs bigger, so if you do have kind of a bigger child or a little bit older child, try to find some footy pajamas, even in the toddler sizes, that do have these flip over mitts. They're cotton. Try to find cotton. Don't get polyester. Don't get anything that's sprayed with fire retardant, so any of that fuzzy flannel stuff you get in the winter. Please do not do that. It's going to get too hot. The eczema is going to get irritated, even if it has the flip sleeves. So you're going to want to get some cotton, and you want to, it's going to get a little icky. All of them will, especially if you have weeping eczema. But these are going to be the best. You also want to make sure that they have the foots on. If your child has eczema on the legs, then you're going to want something to protect the toenails from scraping the other leg, because they'll use that to scrape their ankles because they can't get their fingernails from their hands to it. So these are what you're going to want to find. There's different types of enclosures. You want to make sure that the zipper has something blocking it. If you're not shopping online, try to find a picture if you are, but if you are just going through your closet and trying to find things, try to look for something that maybe doesn't have a really irritating situation here, especially if your child has eczema on their chest or stomach, because they can sit here and use their elbows and it will scratch. Granted, it's not going to be as bad as the fingernail situation, and we're in an emergency. So whatever you have that has flip sleeves and possibly feet coverings, grab those. If you have an older child, we have to get a little more creative. You could use socks, you could use mittens, anything that you could use pantyhose maybe with socks, anything that you could kind of DIY. And I'm going to hopefully, show me if you have any interest, I will make a video on how you could troubleshoot some ideas for older children that have just started exhibiting severe eczema. So that's the first thing I would do. So clothing is the number 1 thing that you can do right now. So we're in the bathroom now, so you guessed it. Number 2, get yourself a good bathing routine. Some people, their eczema is really dry, and it might be winter. I don't know when you're watching this video. Depends on the season, but you might not do a ton of baths. And then some people with eczema, they want to do a bath every night. Regardless, it's something you could try. I depend on my kids' eczema, but when it was oozy, I really did like to kind of calm them down with the bath, even though sometimes it stung. I think even sometimes if they cry in the bath, it's a way to get some energy out for the night. So I do everything I can to get my routine set. Okay, so I'm going to grab any lotions that I use, any balms, any steroids. I'm going to have that all lined out for myself. I'm going to have Q-tips for steroid application, gloves in case your hands have been getting irritated from steroid use, if that's what your treatment involves. Essential oils, not for the baby, but maybe for you, maybe in diffuser, really light. Maybe you just put a little roll-on on your wrist, so as you're washing them, anything you can do. You could dim, if you have a dimmer in your bathroom, maybe dim the lights, get some natural light, put on some Enya, Put on some comforting nursery children's songs. Anything that makes them feel good. With my second, I actually would take a bath with him, and he was really little. He's about 5 months old, and I actually was doing herbal baths with him where I would make up a big pot of herbs, like a tea, and then dump it and blend it in with the bath that had a lot of bacterial fighting herbs, and I would just sit in there and let him float, and we'd listen to music, and I'd sing to him, and that was a really soothing thing for him. It was one of the only places he could sleep because it was so severe. So for him, baths were really great. And then you also want to make sure that you get any washcloths ready. You want to get your towels ready, everything that you can, so that it's a very smooth process. Go ahead and get the pajamas or whatever clothes that you're changing them into. So I think that's something that's good to do at the end of the night. Maybe make sure that you have support or a spouse. If it's just you, you got to do what you got to do. But if you have somebody there that can help you either manage other kids or they can help with the kind of routine. And make sure it kind of stays the same each time. I think it helps the kid. It helps you. If you need to write it down, like the list of the different lotions and potions and steroids that you need to do. And do make sure that it's a quick bath. If you do, I did soak with my little one. It just kind of depends, but make sure it's not too hot. Get out quickly. And the biggest thing is kind of pat dry, let moisture be on there, and then put on your things so that it creates that barrier to keep the moisture in. Okay, so the third thing that you want to do is distraction. So when your child's itching and you haven't found the triggers and you're in a screaming all night situation, nonstop itching, you want to try to distract your child enough but keep them sleepy enough so that they can also get some sleep. So I know this might be a little controversial, but what I used in my emergency situations, which yes, I had plenty between my two severe kids with eczema, I used tablets outside of the crib or laptops. And what I would do is I would just get a platform where they could not reach cords, they could not get out and grab it, and I would set it up, and I would usually play YouTube. We Sing is one of my favorite ones. It's from the 80s and 90s when I grew up, and it's just something about it soothes every child, teething, whatever. I just have always loved it. I grew up watching it. It's really hokey, but for some reason, it's just, there's some calming ones. The King Cole one's really calm. So if you have a chance, go check out their YouTube. They've posted a lot of the full episodes on there, and I think they even have a live one, so it just keeps playing. Like, they didn't have that back in the day for me. I bought the DVDs, but they'll have episodes just playing over and over that your kid could watch. Another one that I really like, anything that's kind of calm and soothing, is Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh was a great one for my first. He loved that. Kind of the first old one, Deep in the 100-Acre Woods song, like it's just very calming. Anything you can find that's calm that your child likes, maybe a favorite show, works really well. Baby Einstein, like Mozart, like just the musical, like the old Baby Einsteins were another one I liked. Even, you can find these on YouTube, Disney sing-alongs. Just the old Disney sing-along VHS. I don't know if you know. I'm kind of old here. But I really like those. You can find those on YouTube for free. They're from like the 90s. And I felt they're a little bit shorter, but sometimes you can find like a playlist and maybe or set up a playlist and then just have them keep going. Disney Plus, maybe their favorite movie. So anything that they love that's calm, that will help them sleep, will help you get sleep, even if it's just an hour. Even if it's just 1 hour where they're not scratching themselves and they're at least resting and kind of in a different state with their brain and they're not having to be consumed by the itch. That is something that really, really, really helped me. And I want to tell you that do not be afraid to use it as a tool. Because to me, it is a tool. And when you're in a survival situation, and eczema can be that way, especially at night, because it always gets worse at night, you need to have something to help you get sleep, because if you do not sleep, then you don't care as well. You cannot emotionally care as well for your child if you're not there, and I have been there. So that is my third tip, distraction. Okay, so my fourth one, also people might think, if you're not a parent of severe eczema, then you probably will think this is different. But my fourth one would be anything that cancels noise for you. So I know that sounds cruel, but it's survival and you need sleep. Like, you need it. And I know you're a caring parent. I know you love your child. I know you cannot stand them, seeing them suffer, and it is soul crushing, but you need sleep, like right now. If you're watching this video, you probably have a lot of sleep deprivation going on, and that can be really detrimental to your health. It wrecked my health with my first. So don't be me. And sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. So anything that can cancel noise, headphones, if you have your child, especially still in the room, earplugs, pillow over your head, blocking something under the frame of your door to block out sound, especially if you have wood floors and it's very echoey, a TV going, a fan going, white noise machine, maybe all of those things. So whatever you have in your house right now, don't need to go shop and get a bunch of things. Maybe you have an old nursery noisemaker. I'm sure you guys all have fans. Some, maybe, hopefully all of you do. Maybe you have a TV, a laptop. You can. I used to have an app on my phone that played rain that I used. So that is the one thing, is canceling noise. The other thing, kind of related to this, is while you're doing noise canceling, maybe you're scared for safe sleep, or you want to have eyes on your child, you need to do shifts. If you have a support person, maybe it's a spouse, maybe it's your parents, maybe it's an aunt or uncle that's helping you right now, have them set up shifts. You can write this down, almost like kind of going to the newborn stage. You're going to want, maybe you get 2 days off of sleep, just like full 2 nights, as much as you can. And then your spouse takes, even if they're working, it's just what it is. Like, you're going to have to, you can't have it all on one person health-wise, because if one of you go down, it's all going to crash. So somebody needs to like, if you just kind of both sacrifice, it makes it a little bit easier. If you cannot do that, again, noise canceling, you're just going to have to do what you need to do. Rest during the, I always say rest during the day, but maybe you can't because you work. You're just going to have to find ways to maximize your sleep as much as possible. Easier said than done. The other thing I was going to say was, you could, also, if you're breastfeeding, I'm breastfeeding, my tired mom brain's kind of air. When you know. So with my second, I was still really breastfeeding when his eczema really was insane. And so what I would do was, we actually moved back in with my parents for a little bit because it was that bad. But it was amazing because my mom could take a couple of the nights and bring my son to me so that I could breastfeed and then just like go right back to sleep. And sometimes she would try to soothe him as long as she could so that I could get like 3 hours. And then my husband and her would switch, and then I would have nights where it was just me. So all 3 of us kind of in tandem did this really cool like sleep schedule thing. So yes, that if you have support, utilize it, do shifts. If you don't have any of that, and even if you do, like maybe your spouse is taking over, wear your noise canceling things so that, 1, you can't hear if they're crying, which I know is heartbreaking. 2, you don't hear the scratching, because sometimes it's not the screaming, it's that incessant, you know what I mean? It's like if you have one of those kiddos that's very itchy, then they're more itchy, the sound of itching still to this day like haunts me. So do it for that too. Okay, and my last tip, number 5, again, might be not kind of common sense, but some of you, it might be emotionally difficult. My last one is separate rooms. So if you're somebody who co-sleeps, or if you're someone who has your child in your room, there's a couple options you can do. You can put the child in their own room, and I on and off did that with my first. With my second, he had to sleep somewhere else because I didn't want my health to crash back down. So I always made sure that he was near someone. Like when we moved back in with my parents, he was just in a pack and play close to where my mom was sleeping, and then we would just move the pack and play to different rooms. You could you could move to a separate room. So maybe if you don't have the shift I was talking about, or you are literally, like, you have a monitor, maybe a video where you can kind of mute it and kind of wake up and watch your child if needed, or maybe you need to hear if they're crying for breastfeeding, you know, it's going to be what it is. If you're a little separated from that, you are going to get more sleep. And I know it's really, really hard. You could do the distraction tip I said with a video. You could even maybe film yourself talking so that your child doesn't feel alone. Maybe a good idea. But I think that, yeah, you have to get sleep. And so that's what I would say. You need to separate yourself as much as you're comfortable with. Not all the time, just enough so that you can get maybe at least a couple block hours together. So those are my 5 tips on helping you get some sleep or your child sleep as much as possible. Remember, always talk with your doctor, pediatrician, naturopath, whoever your team is or whoever you're working with. But remember, you got to do what you got to do when you get home, because this is kind of a survival video, survival situation. Give yourself some grace. You're doing a great job. And I'll meet you back here for some more tips at Eczema Herd. Please like and subscribe, and I'll share some more resources and tips that I've learned through the journey with my children.